Today's video sponsor is Webull, a free online stock brokerage giving my audience 6 free stocks to sell for bike parts. All you gotta do is click the link in my description, deposit as little as 1 cent into your brokerage account, and they give you all that free money. Good luck. As you can see, it is a beautiful day outside, and after I film this, I will be going to ride street because the weather is just that good. But before I go ride street, I'm going to teach you guys 5 of, in my opinion, the easiest tricks you can do with the cassette. Now, I've been on my cassette for a little while now, probably 3 months. I started BMX riding it, and I went on and off for about the first 4 years, switching from free coaster to cassette. And I've been back on cassette for about, like I said, 3 months. And I want to share with you guys some of my favorite, just super easy, out-of-the-box cassette tricks that anybody can do. Before we go any further, I have a quick ad read, and ladies and gentlemen, today's ad is pretty cool. It is sponsored by Yomikuni Swords. That's right. We got a sport. That's the word I screw up. We have a sword sponsorship. A quick ad read. Make sure you check them out. Links in the description. Yomikuni Swords was founded in 1998. We have 22 years of experience making Japanese swords and Chinese swords with modern standard. We make high quality swords and armor to our customers' order. Our swords are tested to be battle ready. Battle ready, folks. Keep that in mind. Customers are welcome to customize their own sword with an affordable price. Order today and get $50 off. Links in the description. $50 off, ladies and gentlemen. Go get yourself a customizable sword. I know I am. We'll see you on the battlefield. So I'm gonna give you a list of my top 5 easiest and favorite cassette tricks, along with some tips on how you can actually go out and do this, hopefully at the end of the video. Now, like I said, anybody can do this. It doesn't mean you'll be able to do all 5 of these first try. It might take you a week on the first one, another week on the second one, 3 months on the 5th one. Everybody goes at their own pace, but realistically, these are probably the first and the easiest, quickest, whatever you want to call it, tricks that you will learn on cassette. And I still do these all the time. You can either do these just as the trick itself, or what I like to do is I like to sometimes exaggerate them, throw in some bar spins, throw in some extra spins. The fun thing about all of these tricks is they are so customizable with this. They're all like pedal pressure tricks, right? Cassette tricks. They're all so customizable that it's kind of like Legos. You got the Lego, then you can just build off the beginning, the end, the middle. They're so fun. That's why I love cassette. And as this will not be an in-depth how-to on each one of these tricks, hopefully you will kind of get started on the right path. And if anything, you can go look up individual how-tos on these tricks if need be. But I will say, if you do have any questions on any of these tricks or anything in general, I have a private Discord for members only on this channel. You guys can ask your questions in there, and 100% of every question asked in my Discord has been answered. I ask questions all the time. I've been trying to figure out how I can get a live stream going on my podcast since it's such beautiful weather outside, and I've been asking nonstop questions, and people are just constantly sending links, and super helpful. You can either hit the join button or link in the description to become a channel member, get access to the Discord. So number 1, and probably the easiest, well, I don't know, these are all fairly similar, but we'll just start with this one. It's a tire tap on a quarter. Now, this is something that you can do on a free coaster, but it's not worth it. It doesn't look as clean. It's certainly not as fun. And just being able to use pedal pressure to go up there, lock in, and go back. Not only is it a fun trick, it's one of the most customizable things ever. For example, I love to do bar spin into the tire tap and then bar spin back into the quarter, tail whip taps, anything you can imagine. It's super fun, and it's honestly really easy. Now, to do this, just watch this video. I mean, just watch it. It's fairly simple. You go up. You don't want to go kind of like this and then do it. You want to go, if anything, kind of alley-oop into it. So that way, because a lot of people, they'll fly out of the ramp like this, they'll try to tire tap, but they end up manualing. And they're like, well, how do you stop? What I like to do is I like to do a little bit of an alley-oop, land in tire tap, so that way the slight backwards motion and combination with the pedal pressure will lock you in place. So don't go like this, go like that. But like I said, just watch the video. You'll get locked in with the pedal pressure. Make sure you keep your weight leaned into the quarter, so that way when you go up, you're in the pedal pressure, you're in the locked in position, you already got your shoulder kind of dipped in just like this, so that way you'll just simply fall in. It's really easy. It's kind of one of those quirkier tricks that you've got to experiment a few different forms. You'll get it figured out, I promise. It's a super fun trick. Number 2, kind of obvious, but it's a full cap. And once again, once you learn this trick, you can do a bajillion different spin-offs, including another trick on this list. You'll have to learn full caps first. Basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do a normal 180, and you're gonna go to where you're gonna fake you out just like normal. But instead of faking out, once you get about 90 degrees, whenever you're doing that fakie, once you get about to the 90-degree mark, whenever you would normally just spin it back around and roll out, that's when you're gonna pedal pressure, crank down on your front pedal. You're gonna pedal pressure, crank down, lift up. So that way, whenever you're going in fakie, here's 90 degrees, lift up, pedal pressure, and then that's gonna spin you like that. And then the last half of the trick is simply just following that momentum that you've created and just doing another little 180. Go to where you're gonna fakie out, carve until about 90, and at this point, when you would usually roll out and fakie out, this is when you're gonna lift up, pedal pressure, pivot that, swing it around, and do the 180. Using that pedal pressure and fakie and twisting motion, all of that stuff combined is going to make this 180 super easy. It might sound like a mouthful and it's kind of hard to explain. It might even look difficult, but I promise you, go try a few full cabs. Watch my examples in slow-mo to make sure you get the exact timing right. Some people like to land and immediately do it. Some people like this pedal back a few times, then do it. The moral of the story is fakie back, and then once you've got your pedals, you're about 90 and your pedals about this position, which is like more up, so this is even, more up. So you fakie back, you're in the 90 position, your feet's like this, so that way you can lift up and crank down and get the 180. Next up, coming right off of that, is the 5 cab. Now you're gonna wanna get the full cab dialed every single time, no problem. And why am I even putting this trick in here? Because a lot of people don't think about it. I know a lot of people who can full cab like crazy. I've never even seen them talk about or heard them talk about a 5 cab, try a 5 cab. Very, very similar, and it's super easy to learn. Now it's one of those tricks that's gonna take a little bit of time to get the form and have it actually look right, because here's the thing. Whenever you're doing the full cab, you're spinning around, hold on, I'm gonna do the full thing. Spin around. When you're about to land in the full cab, if you over rotate that just a little bit and you land like this, you can just pivot around and have a kind of a shady, a sketchy 5 cab, if you will, but it's a way to learn the motion, start from there, a lot of pivot, and eventually be able to crank that full cab all the way back into another 360. Just watch this example in slow motion. These are real easy to learn once you've got the full cabs, because like I said, all you do is when you're coming around the full cab, you can just put down pedal pressure and pivot the rest of the way. It won't look as good, but it's a building block, and the more you do it, the less pivot there will be, and eventually it'll be a full 540 cab. This one is called a 5 tap. It's easier, in my opinion, than the 540 cab, because there's a lot less, like, you know, with a full cab, you've got to pedal back, you've got to get the weight, the pedal pressure and the timing, everything's got to be perfect. But with this one, it's pretty hard to screw up. It'll take you a few time, maybe a few minutes, few hours, few days to kind of get the perfect balance between weight, pedal pressure, and pivot, as with all of these tricks. But the 540 tap is super fun. This is personally one of my favorite tricks to do on cassette. It's probably the least complicated, and that might be the one you get the quickest. Basically, what you're gonna wanna do is over rotate a 180. So you don't wanna land 180, you're gonna wanna land anywhere between 180 and 270 degrees. So 180, and then boom, tire drops. You're gonna put pedal pressure and spin the rest of the way around, as you can see in this example in slow-mo right here. I'm doing the 180, but I'm just over rotated. My tire has dropped. I'm putting lots of pedal pressure, which is gonna swing me around for the last 180. Kind of the same concept as the full cab, but like I said, more simplified. So carve, over rotate a 180, pedal pressure, swing the last 180 out, and you're good to go. And the fun thing is you could do a 5 tap to 5 cab probably within your first month of watching this video, and that's a pretty fun little party trick if you want. I don't know, game of bike. 5 tap to 5 cab. People be like, what even was that? You know, it's a fun one to learn. And the last trick, and in my opinion the most difficult trick, is the manual 180. Now the manual 180 is honestly here's the good news and the bad news. A lot of people do it right, a lot of people do it wrong, a lot of people don't even know, but it's probably the easiest concept. I mean, it's a manual to a 180, right? You just got a manual 180, but there's a few things in there that people don't really realize that you gotta do. When you're first learning it, start with carving a huge carve and a long exaggerated pull-up. So not quite a manual, but not quite a bunny hop, you know what I mean? So a long, slow pull-up 180, so that way you're gonna kind of get the motion, you're gonna kind of get the body movement, the muscle memory down, and then from there, do a big carve, slowly pull up 180, a little bit longer this time, then a little bit longer. You know, you might start with an inch pull up in 180 to a foot to 3 feet, and then eventually after about, 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 180, you're eventually gonna get into the territory where you're doing a proper manual to 180. And I'm telling you, if you start with a nice big carve it's gonna be a lot easier to learn. Once you've got the big carb down, I will just say, if you've got cassette and you're really good at manuals and you're comfortable with the manual 180 motion, but you can't quite get the, the long straight manual to 180 because, you've learned it all this time with a big carve. I promise you, if you lock into a manual, you could hold a manual for a mile, then eventually you'll be able to just kind of dip your shoulder last second out of that straight line manual. You'll be able to dip your shoulder, carve out, then it's the exact same concept as you've always done. Like I said, that's probably the simplest but most difficult trick on this list. It's gonna take the longest time because not only do you have to get used to a really weird 180 kind of pull motion, you also have to get good at manual, so it's really like you've got to master 2 tricks in one. Even though it's simple, it's difficult, but you'll get it. And don't stress about that one. That one I learned over a period of time, just kind of screwing around with it. Slow pull 180s, longer and longer. Finally, hopping on a curb that was like 3 foot wide or something like that. Working your way up is the key with that trick. But all these other tricks, go out, you can send them. And the good thing about this list is if you don't live near a skate park, if you don't live near a street, whatever you want, you can do this in a driveway. You can do these tricks in the grass. I learned them in the gravel at my parents' house when I was a kid. So the tire tap, not so much. The tire tap, you really need a quarter pipe for it. And there's not a great way to prepare it otherwise. But all these other ones, you can go practice. You can literally shut this video down after you join the channel memberships, join the Discord, hit the like button. After you do all that stuff, you can shut your computer, your phone down, you can throw your TV out the window, and you can hop on your bike and go try all these tricks right now. If you got any value out of today's video, hit that like button. As you can see, the weather is beautiful, so I'm gonna probably slow down the uploads a little bit because I just wanna take advantage of the nice weather. Hit the pool, go swimming. It's pretty much irresistible, so I'm gonna go take a dip for the next probably month. So hop on over to my podcast if you wanna stay up to date on whatever nonsense I have going on. Anyway, hope you enjoy this video. I will see you next time.